So, I don't even know how to describe our next comic at all. You guys that know her will know what I'm talking about. Except in our last class, I called her a hurricane of delight. But a hand for Benita, everybody.
I have to hold the mic, sorry. Yes, you heard the name right. It's Benita. And you're all looking at me now. I can feel it. I hear the same questions I've been hearing for a long time. What kind of name is Benita? That's a weird name. Are you Hispanic? No, I'm not. Are you black? Nope. I'm Chinese. Yeah. The name fools everybody, but yeah, it's just part of life. When you grow up with a strange name, it defines you. It really directs your whole existence. At least it did when I was growing up. Nowadays, people name their kids all sorts of strange things, from apple to blanket to river. And one time I was pulling out of a garage downtown Chicago, and as I was paying the parking attendant, I gazed over and I saw her name tag, and it said Latrine. What were her parents thinking? Did they not know that latrine is just another word for toilet? Or were they naming her after the place where she was born? I couldn't figure it out. I know how I got my name. It was when my mother was pregnant, they were expecting a boy, which is all they'd been making up until then in the family. And being Jewish, they wanted to name their child after a deceased relative. And my mother's father had passed away a couple years before, and I was the last of my generation, so they were determined to name this new child they were going to have Benjamin. Guess what? Surprise! You just had a girl. So they were faced with a very difficult decision. They either had to change the name or change the gender. Money was tight at the time, so they took the cheaper option and went with Ben, I-T-A, Ida. Great. So over the years, having a weird name helped me develop my personality, as I said earlier, and made me rather gregarious. I grew up in a neighborhood called West Rogers Park, and it was predominantly Jewish. It wasn't restricted. They did let other non-Jewish people move in, but most of the Jewish kids went to the public schools, and the kids that weren't Jewish that I was friends with were all going to their private Catholic schools. And one summer, two of my Jewish girlfriends and I decided to take summer school at St. Scholastica, because it was an easy A for U.S. history, so we were told. Well, we were sitting in the class on the first day, and the teacher started taking attendance, and we realized something. We were the only three girls in the class not named Mary. Mary Jane, Mary Jo, Mary Beth, Mary Alice, Mary Beth. I mean, it was endless numbers of Mary. I thought, how did these parents all decide on the same exact name? This is amazing. If they didn't have those middle names, there'd be no way to identify them on paper or in conversation. So when I went back to Mather High School in the fall, where I was with predominantly Jewish kids, I realized something. Even when we're in the majority, Jewish people need to feel that they feel compelled to assimilate. And it dawned on me, there were dozens and dozens of girls named Marla. I went, oh my Lord, the Jewish version of Mary is Marla. There was Mary Goldstein, Mary Schwartz, Marla, I did it. Marla Schwartz, Marla Shapiro, Marla Goldstein, Marla Silver, Marla Gold, Marla. I felt like I was on the Brady Bunch with the wrong name. So I thought, there's another reason that having an unusual name can be a perk. It'll keep me on the straight and narrow, because I always had a tendency to be a bit of a wild child. But then I realized, if the guys went into the bathroom and they looked up on the wall while they were having their experience, and it said, call Marla for a good time, they wouldn't know which Marla to call. They'd have no idea. But if they went in the bathroom and they looked up on the wall and it said, for a good time, call Benita, they wouldn't have to rely on the NCIS team to figure out who to call. My phone would be ringing off the hook. So I knew better. I never did anything that was going to get me into a lot of trouble because I was always going to be the only Benita. Yeah, it had its good points and bad points. So I had my first midlife crisis about 10 years ago. And it was so much fun turning 40 that I decided, well, midlife 40, that would only leave me going to 80. I should stretch it out. So right now I'm having my second midlife crisis. And you are all witnessing it. I took a stand-up comedy class and I decided I was going to have some big party and have all my friends and relatives come and watch me do a stand-up routine because supposedly I was funny during the first 50 years of my life. And then I had an even better idea. I'll turn this party into a fundraiser for my favorite charity, which is me. And I will use the money for plastic surgery to get rid of the wrinkles around my eyes because they've been really bothering me. They've been reproducing at a rapid rate. I think they're having babies under there or something. And then I thought if I can pull it off and I do a good job, I could turn it into an annual event. And every year I could have a different theme. I could have a comedy night for my tummy tuck. I could have laugh with liposuction. And then when I'm 53, I could raise hell and my breasts all in one evening. But don't worry, because even if I start looking dramatically different over the years, you will still always know who I am. Because it doesn't matter what I look like, the name will still be Benita.